Welcome, y'all, to the second episode of Your Genius is Showing with Xander Marrow. He is a photographer, model extraordinaire, and I just want a chance to dive into
Dive deep, Sam. Dive deep.
what in the world is going on with you right now. I have a unique opportunity to meet Xander on the cusp of his transition to New York City from Portland, and it's going to be a big leap, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I've
So-
never left the West Coast, so here's hoping.
Hell yeah. Xander does a lot of Polaroid photography. Is that
Yeah, I've
true?
been doing a lot of Polaroid lately. Transitioning back into 35 millimeter. Just needed to take a break for a while. I did 35 millimeter for like 3.5 years, really intense, and then was looking for another format, different creative outlet for a minute. But Polaroid's gotten to that point where I spent probably like $2,000 over the summer on just Polaroid film.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's like $3 a photo. So I decided to transition back into 35 millimeter as I was saving, and just kind of fell in love with it again. And really excited to get to New York and start working on my my next photo project. It's gonna be exciting.
So will you describe briefly what your favorite things to shoot are, what your favorite scenes are?
My favorite things to shoot probably goes back to when I was a little kid. My mom would always tell me that things that are a little fucked up are more beautiful. So like things that are just not traditionally really beautiful, I really enjoy. Like kind of like darker, grittier scenes. Which is probably the reason I don't do any editing with my 35 millimeters, to kind of like get that grain in there and get that raw aspect. Try and like present a scene that has like more character to it. Like I'm a big fan of like industrial stuff and train yards, like things that aren't necessarily seen as like what's traditionally beautiful. But to me, like a construction lot is as a gold mine of photography. Like you can, there's so many great patterns and like textures in there. And then just I really love capturing like everyday people like just doing their work, and a lot of candid stuff. Like doing portrait photography is fun and all, but I think my heart really lies in like I don't know, like catching a construction worker, like working with a jackhammer and just like getting that shot where everything like aesthetically lines up. Yeah, awesome.
I remember going to one of your art shows. Have you had a couple in the past?
In the last year, I did 6 gallery shows.
Wow.
I had one in Leipzig, Germany. I had one in Amsterdam with the collective In de Kunst, which I had a great run with them. Not part of their group anymore. Started focusing on my own stuff, and then I had like 3 or 4 gallery shows in Portland. One was at PSU. I had a month there, which was really exciting, especially since I've never gone there, and it was the first time a college like actually asked to use my work instead of just stealing it like I've had happen before, which is super validating actually. Like it was annoying, but also like if a college is willing to steal my stuff and I've never gone to school for it, it was just really validating experience. Yeah. I was like, cool. Well, I'm good enough to steal from, I guess. Nice.
So that one I remember, it was like a complete map of Portland.
Yeah, it was a visual map of inner city Portland made up of like 600 to 650 prints, and I did all the developing of the negatives. And it was set up so that each of the photos was placed where I was standing when I took the photo. So like the pictures of the Broadway Bridge were where the steel bridge is, and the pictures of the steel bridge is where the Broadway bridge is. Because I was standing on the other bridge, photographing the other bridge.
Nice.
Which is what I kind of like what I plan to do with New York when I get there, is to pick a borough and then spend a year doing a 35 millimeter and some video work so I can get like a sound and video aspect along with the photos, kind of change the map into like a multimedia experience. Nice. So I can engage multiple senses instead of just the visual aspect, and then make it like create an experience in which you can see, like, say, all of Brooklyn, but in one room.
Wow. Do you find yourself inspired by like nature other than human activity, or do you ever captivate, animals and plants and like all that type of stuff?
Yeah, I really love doing nature photography, especially the gorge. It's gorgeous. As funny as that is, really, like, Forest Park has been great. It's been so nice having such a huge like state park so close to the city, so I can go from photographing street scenes and people doing their thing to just walking up like a little trail and I'm surrounded by like gorgeous nature scenery and like meadows and trees, and that's been a really nice aspect of like living here, is that it's such a versatile place. You can photograph any kind of scene that you really want, and it's always green all year round, which I get that I'm photographing in black and white, but like things are just fuller when they're green. Like the plants look more alive, and it's really great for the photos.
That's awesome. We were talking briefly before we started this shindig about chess and how you originally got started and piqued your interest in photography in that original scene. Will you expand more on that and verse me in a game of chess right now?
Yeah, no, definitely. I started hanging out at Coffee Time on 21st and Irving in Northwest Portland like 4.5 years ago. And I was recently just handed my first camera, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And it was just kind of like a crutch for me to like deal with my anxiety, give me something to have control over and observe the world through, like kind of help me pull back from how anxious I was and really see through a different lens, kind of.
What kind of camera was it?
It was a Canon Rebel 2000. Really light plastic camera. It was great. I still have it. It was my grandpa's. Very different from the ones I use now, but great starter camera. And I started photographing people around that area in Portland, and a really big thing at that coffee shop was playing chess. Like, that's what all the artists that I knew there did, and that's what most of the people who went there did. So I started playing a lot of chess, which kind of taught me a lot about just kind of how people work, and I don't know, it teaches you like subconscious things about people that they're not even necessarily aware of, and it teaches you a lot about yourself, like things that you don't really notice. Like I was always really great at setting up my defense on the board, but when it came to actually striking, like making that move, I never knew when to do it, and that's when I would usually lose, is because I didn't have that like aggressive aspect, which I've really been working on the past few years, to like find a nice balance of like when to kind of strike and when to just sit back.
Going along with that metaphor, do you feel like you've set yourself up for this New York move and you're ready to strike it, or?
Yeah, I think I spent the last like 5 or 6 months working just a lot, saving up as much money as I could, and I think as long as I'm smart about it, I'll be fine once I get there. It's gonna be kind of nice being in a place where nobody knows who I am. I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Well, super grateful to have you here and learn more about the art that you want to give to the people.
Thank you.
I want to know more about what gets you in the mood to do a photo shoot. Like, what inspires you to actually create an art show?
It kind of started out as my friend Ben pushing me, because I didn't really think what I was doing was really that special, and they're a fairly successful artist. They just got like their first piece in a museum, and it's on the North Korea South Korea border. Like they're really going places. They do like this crazy sound art, and the way I see Ben's belief in me is it's like he believes in me like my mom does, but he's not my mom. So as special as it is that my mom believes in me as she does, it's like super special that he believes in me that way, because he doesn't have to, you know? So there's a lot of him pushing, and he got me like my first couple shows and got me in the collective that I was in. And then from there I started like seeing how to do it and started networking better and meeting, like I met this curator, Andrew Jankowski, who was the curator for the Lippmann White Gallery for a while, and now they do freelance like news articles, and they've been super supportive, and they got me a few gallery shows. They got me the one at the White Gallery at PSU that I had for a month, where I presented the map. That was the second show for the map.
Nice. What are some of your influences in terms of photography or visual art in general?
My biggest influences would probably be a lot of like oil paintings, and like the music that I listen to has always been super influential in the stuff that I create. Like I'm a big Bright Eyes fan. Conor Oberst is probably the most influential artist in my life. But when it comes to like photographers, the only one that's really famous that I would say is an influence to me is Daido Moriyama, who was a photographer in Japan in the 1970s. He kind of photographed like the underbelly of Japan, like the dark alleyways, the dive bars, the things that people didn't really want to admit were kind of there at the time. He was very into photographing those. But besides that, photographers that really inspired me is like my best friend Oliver. To me, he's the most talented photographer in Portland. He grew up in Queens and moved here for college. Find him on Instagram at Ollie_Jazz, JAS. Look him up. And then next to them would be Colin Cathy. Their Polaroid work. Like I was hanging out with them yesterday, and they gave me this photo album they made as a goodbye present, and they were showing me some of their new photos, and I was just speechless. Like, it was some of the most amazing Polaroid work I've ever seen. Is the double exposures that they've been doing, and their use of like colored lighting, and it's just incredible. Like I really didn't know how to comprehend what I was looking at first. But yeah, it's some amazing stuff, and it can be found on Instagram at Colin Does a Photo. Definitely look into them. The photos they take of their partner just have like this like essence of like love and caring about them that I haven't really seen in a lot of other artwork.
Awesome. When did you start being public online with your art, or wanting to promote yourself online?
Probably about 3.5 years ago that started. And it was just kind of like, it wasn't super serious. It was just a way for me to kind of have something to preoccupy my time with. Because I had recently made the decision to not go into the military like I had planned on for a long time. I didn't really know what I was doing with my life, didn't have any plans for college. So I started posting the photos I was taking, and it started to garnish some attention, and things just kind of went from there.
Nice. I think it's such an awesome opportunity to be alive on this planet right now because we have access to all the technology that we need, and your audience is out there. It's a big reason why I'm passionate about meeting with people like you to help promote each other, to promote the art that people want, and we've become the mainstream media in a way. And so if we can provide some content that is at least have a little bit of substance, then we can feed our spirits a little bit more with the art that is going to change the world. You know, that's how I feel.
I agree. Like with like the rise of things like Instagram and I guess what Tumblr used to be, you know, you can really kind of make your own way, and you don't have to so much rely on this like archaic system that the art world used to run on. You can just start posting your own work, and you know, find your audience that way without having someone else like have to like find it and be like, oh, you should be in this gallery, you should be in this gallery. Like, you can make your own little gallery online and just form a following from that, which I think is really amazing and really amazing tool to have nowadays.
So do you have any goals on how you want your art to be exposed to the people via merch or purchasing prints, or how can people find, or in the future, how do you want to give your art to the people?
I want to start making zines. I have a few projects that I think would fit really well into that. I have this one I've been working on as like a present for my best friend when I move away, and it's called The Shits I Give for You, and it's literally just like 15 different photos of shits that I've taken, and I just like shoot a Polaroid of the shit I just dropped in the toilet, you know. But I think he'll really get I really care about him and love him, because that's $3 a photo on shit, you know. And then I have some other ones from like my time working at Bamboo Sushi, just photographing the things that go on in the kitchen and at the sushi bar, and like the things I've learned with like cleaning eel and breaking down fish, and like I learned how to tenderize an octopus, and I photographed a lot of that process.
Oh, wow.
It was really awesome.
Well, I'm inspired. I haven't really dove into photography that much. I do a little bit of video work and then a lot of audio work, and I really love festivals, and I really love the whole captivating the people in the city type of deal. Do you ever want to do like events, or would you ever do like an event photo?
Yeah,
project?
I'd be really into that. I don't think it would necessarily come out like a lot of other photographers do. Like once I was watching a photography documentary, and one of the photographers in it brought up that when he goes to an event, he doesn't photograph the event, but he photographs like the edges of the event, the outskirts, because that's where you get all people doing like weird shit and the really interesting photos. Like the event is cool, and you take some photos of that, like the main thing going on. But my interest is usually like what are the people who are like standing on the sidelines doing, like people who aren't being necessarily paid a bunch of attention to, so they're gonna do things that I guess wouldn't necessarily be like as socially acceptable. I want those photos.
Awesome. It's giving the people who don't usually have a voice heard in a way.
Yeah.
And also just making that art your own rather than saying, oh, I'm here to promote this.
Yeah.
Sweet. So like, aside from creating art and transitioning, what are you passionate about, like, in your heart right now?
A big part of the reason I'm moving to New York is for alley cat racing. As soon as my arm is rideable again, I'm really stoked for that. Which alley cat races are illegal street races on bikes, in which you're given like a manifest, and then you have to complete objectives on that manifest before you can turn it in. So it's not necessarily a set like loop that you're racing in and doing laps, but you have to like go around a city and complete all these little objectives and get them like signed off by the person at that spot, and then get to your final destination and turn in your manifest, and like that's how you win the race.
That's like extreme geocaching.
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
A lot of times doing it on like track bikes that don't have any brakes. And it's super fun. It's like the funnest thing ever. The adrenaline rush is amazing.
Are there prizes?
Yeah, you'll win like parts for your bikes, or like you can win like messenger bags, or sometimes you just win clout. Like you just win that you won that race.
That's awesome. And you said you're gonna do the bike delivery thing too?
Yeah, when I first get to New York, just to kind of boost my savings a little and compensate for like the Airbnbs I'll be staying in until my room is open. It's gonna be doing like some bike delivery stuff to make some extra money.
Nice.
You know, make sure I can still have a savings after I'm like done moving in and everything. Just because it's smart to have a little bit of money saved up just in case, you know.
Yeah. Little backstory for the viewers: we are witnessing Xander just coming from his 6th or 5th bike crash into a postal van, and he's recovering his shoulder because people driving in the back lane.
Yeah. I was going down Broadway toward the Broadway Bridge to the west side, and a postal van started to cut through the bike lane and make their turn. So I went to go swerve around them, and they stopped all of a sudden, and I smashed into their back window and shattered it with my helmet and my shoulder. So my shoulder's a little stiff right now. It should be fine. And always wear your helmet. Invest in the nicer helmet, please. Like, it's why I'm alive right now.
Xander's like the Batman of Portland, and he will be missed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Do you want to start this game off here? White people go first. That's
Yeah,
the rule.
white privilege rescinded by black power. That's how chess works.
Yes. So I'm curious, because I'm so auditorily inclined. What direction do you want to move towards in terms of the audio and the visual experience in your art shows?
What I'm looking for is to create kind of like an ambient sound with it. Like, I don't want any one sound or like words that people are saying to carry too much weight in the audio of it. I want to create almost like a white noise out of the cityscape, so that you can. So like if you were standing on a street corner, what would you hear? Or if you were standing if you're like at a party, like what would you hear in that area? Like what would people be talking about? What do the cars sound like? What is just like kind of like the hustle and the bustle of the city sound like? I want to capture that.
Oh, that's awesome. I recently saw something online. Bobby West, who is Aerotime, did a project in San Francisco that was similar, making an ambient atmosphere, and then it was all visual boards that can move, and it was more like a nature soundscape, but it was so cool how you could manipulate the water and it would change the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you're diving into the ambience of the city, or the noticing how chaotic it is, but it's also harmonious in a way.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and I'm so stoked for that. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking it'll take me about a year to document everything I need, and then like 3 or 4 months to put it all together, and then I gotta find a gallery to throw it up in, but I think it'll go well.
In terms of help, like, do you feel like you need help in any way? Like, if you could ask for help from the universe, like whether it be money or good luck or sweet connections, what do you want to call in right now?
I mean, I'd love to call in all 3 of those things, honestly. Money would be great. Sweet connections would be great. Good luck. I don't want to get hit again. I mean, like, I get that's part of the whole biking thing, especially biking as aggressively as I do. But I really like to avoid it, It hurts.
Word.
If I had to pick one, that would probably be sweet connections, because the rest comes with that,
Right on. Yeah, I really am a proponent of, like, setting your sails, and once you set your sails, the winds take you, and so that faith will come through. And
yeah, the closer you get toward your dream, the harder life is going to make it for you. And that's okay. That's a sign that you're going in the right direction.
what else are you excited about in terms of moving to New York and living your life in a new city?
The food. Oh my God, the food. I'm so excited for the food. Also, like, the roads of New York, just how big the lanes is like my main reason for choosing New York. It's fixie heaven, and I can't wait to be there, to be part of a biking community that, like, the one here is great, but it's not really what I'm looking for.
Do you ever get into the GoPro life, or strapping the camera to yourself and
I do plan
action?
on getting a GoPro once I get there, so I can, like, record my rides. And I've been through a lot of crazy shit on a bike, and it's really hard to explain to people what it was. So I'd really love to be able to just, like, show them a video of this thing that I went through, instead of trying to, like, describe it with, like, I don't know, sometimes I've used, like, chess pieces and been like, all right, so this is a street, this is where everyone was, and this was going like this, and this is going like this. It'd be much easier if I could just be like, here's a video on my phone of what the fuck just happened to me. Yeah.
What about, like, broadcasting that, or do you have any desire to, like, do the bike races on YouTube, or, like...
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely put them up, like, on my Instagram, throw some up on Facebook.
Do you promote through Facebook often? Like,
not really. I try not to really use Facebook that much. It's just a way to, like, know about events for me.
Yep, I feel it. It's amazing how all the social media tools seem so separate, and then, like, I've heard in China or other countries, they're, like, all one unit. And I imagine in the next couple of years, that's probably going to be more so.
Yeah.
Similar to the Google buying YouTube deal.
Yeah, I hope we just don't get where China is with the social scoring. Like, depending on how much alcohol you buy, they lower your social score, and then it's harder for you to buy plane tickets to certain places, or, like, travel. Like, it's just too Black Mirror for me. Like, I love Black Mirror, but I'm not trying to live in an episode. I know we're pretty, like, we're pretty much there, but
yeah. It's intense. We've been observing a lot of the ads and like Siri listening when she's not supposed to be listening. Oh yeah, I was just talking about that. Why am I seeing it on my subscribed sponsored advertisements?
It's something that doing photography, especially street photography, which involves a lot of like photographing people without them necessarily knowing, has taught me is that there are always cameras watching you.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I was like, well, I can either like get really paranoid and freak out about this, or I can just be like, all right, like I guess anything I do is going to be captured at some point. Like,
all eyes on me.
Yeah, I'm still going to do whatever I want to do with my life.
Yeah. I kind of like that cops have the video cameras and the recording now, because I'm going to have one too, and now it's just technology in court.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the police having a camera on their chest. It really ups their accountability.
True that. I stayed awake for weeks when Corey Gardner, or the guy who was selling untaxed cigarettes in New York,
Yeah.
got choked out. I was like, straight up, could not sleep.
Yep.
Like, I want to take initiative. Like, what do I do? Join the police academy and change it from the inside? Do I be an activist and protest? And like, we all gotta love each other from where we're at, and
Yeah, like everyone's just trying to be happy,
and
which
love and non-judgment all the way in my heart. And sometimes it plays out ugly, and it's okay to have accountability for that. And
yeah, I think the more we can up accountability, like the better that'll be. I don't necessarily agree with the police system, especially just my interactions with them haven't necessarily been the best, and I just like it if we had a better system. Like,
yeah. I've kind of thought about a citizens police idea. Like, you go through a training, you get a license to be able to, I don't know, do some cool police thing, like carry a taser or something.
Just be a bounty hunter like Dale Gribble.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a good opportunity to say that the Your Genius is Showing podcast has no form whatsoever, really. It's just trying to get to know people. So, yeah, the vulnerability comes out as we get to spend time with each other. So thanks again.
Yeah, of course.
And it looks like Xander's going to kick my ass in this chess game.
Well, we'll see about that. We definitely will.
If you could give somebody like me who doesn't really spend any time doing photography like a little bit of advice how to get started on the inspirational side, what would you say?
Just trust your gut when it comes to, like, if you see something that you think is beautiful in some way, take a photo of it. Like, it doesn't have to be what everyone else thinks is beautiful. Like, I'm a big fan of photographing dead animals when I see them, and that's not necessarily like what everyone's trying to think of as beautiful, but I definitely think there's a beauty in that. Like roadkill, always a great reminder to me as a cyclist to watch out. So I photograph it when I see it, just so like it hits me again when I develop the photos. Like, all right, I need to like pay attention in my life and just go out and take some photos. There sometimes like photos that you don't think are going to be that great. You shoot it, and it turns out being something you really love. There's plenty of ways to manipulate it after the fact of taking the picture. You just gotta go out and do it.
Well, thanks.
Is it your turn or my turn?
It's yours.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You just moved your queen out of the way.
So Xander and I were in a photo shoot together called the Long-Haired Men photo shoot. And since then I've chopped my hair off, but Xander's hair keeps flowing like the rivers. And do you plan to do any modeling while you're in New York?
Maybe. Like, I really like doing portrait trades with other photographers, so I shoot portraits of them, and then they would shoot portraits of me. I think I really like doing that because not many people are trying to photograph the photographers. Like, they're always standing behind the camera, and I would love to be able to make a book someday of all of the photographers, like, portraits of them, while they have, like, their photo books out. Like, there's one that's just pictures of all of the photographers.
See, you know, giving the people who don't have the voice a chance again.
Yeah, like, being a photographer, you have all these photos and, like, all these memories captured, but you're almost never in any of them. It's like all of your friends doing something, and it looks like you're not there. So I like trying to get, like, photos that involve those people to, like, prove that they were there. Like, that's how I got into self-portrait photography, and yeah, I think it's just important to capture the person who's capturing the moment also.
Selfie stick.
Selfie stick. If they had one for film cameras, I'd be on that shit. But I guess I just have a tripod and, like, a 20-foot cord to press the trigger.
Yeah.
I believe it's your turn.
Do you take pictures on your phone at all?
Not really. I kind of forget that there's a camera on it all the time. I usually just stick with my little point and shoot, or like one of my nicer SLRs. All right, I see you. I see what you're doing there. Just not a big fan of that rook. It's kind of fucking me up here.
So who else musically do you find yourself gravitating towards these days?
Another really big influence was Alt J with their first album, An Awesome Wave. Just really connected with it during a really hard time in my life. But more recently, a lot of No Doubt. Love Gwen Stefani.
Oh, yeah.
But like 90s Gwen Stefani, you know? And Miles Davis. I listen to a lot of Miles Davis. Just kind of more instrumental, and like jazz music has been really sticking out to me a lot lately. Just the emotion that you can hear in what someone's putting through a trumpet and them not having to say a word is really fascinating to me.
Do you play any instruments?
I used to play drums a little. That was really fun. Limb separation was definitely a hard skill to kind of get down as little as I got it down. But it was a really good time. Quite the cardio workout. Did not realize that. Like, that the drummer on stage is doing more work than anyone else. Like, that guy or girl or whoever they are is fucking like running the whole time.
Oh yeah.
They're like literally running in place for like an hour and a half. Like, they deserve some more respect than they're getting.
Yeah, I always say that the drummer's the leader of the band because if they go out, then everybody's off.
Mm-hmm. Is it my turn?
I think so.
Okay. I'm gonna put you in check.
Do you think you're going to develop a website at all?
I used to have one, and I didn't really have much use for it, just because I don't do a lot of, like, commissioned work. It's more of, like, me getting ready for, like, gallery installations.
Yeah. It's not really necessary.
Yeah.
People aren't hitting you up all the time.
Yeah, like, as, I guess as, like, the popularity of my work grows, I'll probably get a website, and it'll be useful for getting ready for galleries in New York if I actually have, like, a website I can show them instead of just, hey, here's my Instagram. Because as useful as that's been, it's not seen as the most professional thing in that scene. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. I don't agree. So I'm gonna put you in check.
Do you have any more tattoo ideas lined up?
Yeah, I'm actually getting another one later today.
By Abby?
Yeah, by our good friend Abigail Agassi. You can find her at Vampire Inc. on Instagram. Check her out. She's doing a tattoo that my mom has for my little sister. It's like a memorial tattoo. Unfortunately, she passed due to leukemia when she was 5. But we're getting the original drawing was done with like a purple crayon. It's this flower she did. So my mom has that flower, but it's a black. It's black flower with like a offset red line at the top of where like the petals are. So it looks like it's just kind of like there's like the black outline and then a red one slightly off to the side, like a couple centimeters. So I'm gonna get the same thing done, but with blue, so that red and blue make purple, like the original.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Do you have any advice for me going on with this podcast? You're my second artist, and it's really freeform as of right now, just because I use it as an excuse to hang out with cool people and take up all their time.
As someone who, that's how a lot of my portrait photography started, I think you're doing a great job. Like, it's a very comfortable environment. You asked really great questions so far. It's super accommodating. Sam will make you tea, get you a little stoned. Yeah, it's just a really comfortable environment. And you're a really comfortable person. So I think you're doing a great job. Like,
thanks, Xander.
Yeah. But where are you gonna move? What's your next move on this chess game?
I'm gonna take your pawn.
Yeah, you're gonna take my pawn.
So do you ever think about getting like a superhero suit to wear while you bike around?
I definitely have. I did Rocky's outfit from Rocky Horror Picture Show. So just the shiny gold underwear. That was a fun one. I have a Santa mask with a full beard. Sometimes do that one during the winter.
Nice.
Cuts down your visibility a little. It's a little sketch, but it is a good time.
No capes?
No capes.
Capes
In the words of Edna Mode, no capes. She knows a thing or two about costume design.
Yeah, she does. That second Incredibles movie was hilarious with the woke baby.
Yeah, that movie hit me real hard. My dad was very absent in my life and just kind of a shitty person. So watching that movie with Mr. Incredible being like a good father, I did cry a few times. That really hit me pretty hard.
We all need that positive father male role model that Mr. Incredible provides. You know, he's strong, American.
Yeah, but like
Super.
in a good way. Not in like the let's build a wall kind of way, but like let me help you out kind of way.
Oh my God, are you comfortable telling that bar story on this podcast?
Yeah, so last night I was
This is hilarious.
I was at Republic Cafe down in Chinatown, and there's this middle-aged white man who was obviously pretty drunk, and he comes up to the table. I'm sitting out with a bunch of my friends, just a bunch of local artists, people with more progressive mindsets, and he starts talking to my best friend Ben about how we need to build a wall, and Ben's talking with him for a while and arguing with him about how like we should have compassion and for other people who are trying to come into this country and not. Thank you for your queen.
God.
And just be good people. And the guy realizes he's not getting anywhere with Ben. Like, they don't think the same way. And he looks at me and he asks me what I think about the wall. And I go, well, as a Mexican, and my friend starts laughing hysterically. Like people running from like cartels and regimes and people who are trying to come into this country, they're just looking to like have a nice life and like live in the suburbs, and they want their kids to be able to, their elementary school aged kids, to walk to school without getting like shot at or kidnapped. Like they just want to be happy and to have a normal life, and you're in check. That's really all any of these people want. And he's telling me how he doesn't go to work, but he's all about compassion and yeah. And my friend looks over and sees just the look on my face, and he's trying to drag me out of the bar, and he gets me up, and my other friend walks by and looks at the guy and goes, "You're a fucking Nazi." And I just lost it. It was too good. Like,
You're building a wall around your heart, man.
Yeah, like, let's not focus on building a wall. Like, let's focus on replacing the water pipes in Flint, Michigan. Like, kids are dying.
We should have done that like 5 years ago.
We should have done that so long ago. And it costs like a fraction of what this wall is supposed to cost.
So true. Yeah. The water needs to flow to the people.
Yeah, it does.
And so does the money.
I think it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm kind of stumped here.
What can I do?
Yeah, I have a huge theory of the presidency being a huge collective mind control experiment. But it's interesting how the common theme of somebody in power who a lot of people dislike just are continuously focusing their energy on that, and like, oh, we're focusing on somebody that we don't agree with, but in turn we're giving our energy to that.
Yeah.
And I think with the opening of hearts collectively, we can refocus and being like, oh, this is a person who maybe doing his best, maybe he's doing what he wants, whatever. It's still a reflection of what's going on inside of us in a big way.
Yeah.
And we can make a lot of change happen in our communities, maybe even more than Donald Trump can.
I think we should heed the words of Mother Teresa when she talks about how she doesn't want to go to your anti-war rally. She wants to go to your peace rally.
Yes.
Because that's the energy you're putting out in the world. Like, that's what you're focusing on, is peace in that moment. And the anti-war rally is just gonna I understand like that you're trying to not have this thing happen anymore, but focusing on it so much is just gonna propagate it. Like,
yep. It's kind of like, well, the most recent, well, maybe not most recent, but a recent example of the Standing Rock, how, oh, they're building a pipeline through the reservation. They were already there, and they're calling people to come stand with the people that live there.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, this isn't a protest. It's more of like a protect. But
yeah.
Even we have to even move past protection, because if the people who we're paying to protect us, i.e. the police or others,
federally funded gang,
we need to move to progress. Like, instead of protest, instead of protect, let's progress.
Yeah.
Like,
how do we get rid of this system that is constantly fucking us and build something that's gonna to help everyone?
Free acupuncture for everybody.
I'd be down for that.
Federally funded acupuncture.
Federally funded.
I mean, we pay for it
yeah.
in our tax dollars. It's not free. It's not a wall. It's needles in your back, and sometimes your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Get my queen back, bro.
You can try all you want. I just don't think you're gonna get it back. As you're in check right there, you can't do that.
You're right.
Yeah, my bishop is watching you. Thanks for your last rook. Just want to make it clear, Sam has a king and 3 pawns. I have 2 rooks, like 6 pawns, and a bishop. So
You have 5 pawns.
that's how this. I have 5 pawns.
Oh, no, you have 6.
I
Damn
do
it.
have 6. That's how this game is going. This is just beginner's luck for me, though.
Uh-huh.
Check.
Damn it. It's mate.
Yeah, it is. It is, mate. Good game.
Good game. That was fun.
Yeah, that was.
Do you have anything else that you would like to tell the entire world?
I'd like to ask that everyone think about dogs more, make you happier. Try and think about them a lot. If you're into cats, that too, but dogs mostly. Eat some fruit, take a bath, drink some water. Just take care of yourself.
Beautiful. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Xander Marrow Photography on Instagram. Xander with an X, Marrow like bone marrow. Yeah, that's. I guess I'm also on Ello if you have Ello. At Xander Marrow Photography as well. If you're trying to buy some prints or want to work together, just hit me up. I'll be leaving Portland on the 8th around 9:45. Catching that red eye to New York. If you're in New York, I will be in New York at 6 a.m. on the 9th. Hit me up. I don't know anyone. Let's go for a bike ride, take some photos. Let's get a cup of coffee or a drink.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Xander.
Yeah,
You're the
thank
man.
you. Thank you for having me.
And your genius is showing.
Thank you. I love these early SpongeBob references. They really get me going.
Booyah. Much love, people.